Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Omri and today the deck I'm going to be playing is Mono Red Aggro. As you may have already guessed, this is an aggressive deck. It's got 17 mountains, 4 Castle Embers, and its curve tops at, well, 6. But Ember Cleave is the best card in the deck and it'll only cost 3 to 4 mana most of the time. So, the game plan of the deck is to develop fast in the early game and use its mana efficiently, starting on turn 1 to put enough power on the board and pressure on the opponent early so that they can't recover and stabilize. So the idea is to curve out and go under the opponent. Past turns 5 and 6, as you may guess, the opponent's deck is often going to have a higher curve than this deck, and our odds of winning go down like dramatically. So the goal of the deck is to kill your opponent quickly. How does it do that? Well, it's got mostly creatures, which is slightly different from other mono red variants with only burn spells. It's got Akum, Hellhound, and Fervent Champion, curving into Rimrock Knight and Robber of the Rich, followed up by Bone Crusher Giant, Annex Harden the Forge, and Phoenix of Ash, which may seem a little bit surprising. I'll go into depth about it later because it used to be bad, but now it's good. And finally topped off by Ember Cleave and the one-ofs A Crow in War and Torbrand, Thane of Red Fell. So, first I should talk about the most important card in the deck, Ember Cleave. This card is absolutely nuts. Puts a massive amount of power on the board. It's also a combat trick because just being rawly just damage is apparently not enough. It'll only cost 3 to 4 mana, and occasionally all the way as low as 2. And it's absolutely insane with Annex Harden the Forge. Double Strike plus Trample means that you can't get chump locked. It also gives +1/+1. And so even with the Bone Crusher Giant, it represents 6 points of power on an equipment. And considering it only has an equip cost of 3 mana, that makes it not that hard to move around. It's not quite an aura, and Fervent Champion actually lets you equip it for free. Only onto Fervent Champion though. So, second most important card of the deck, Annex Harden the Forge, is also pretty nuts. It's very often going to be a 4/3 or bigger. It'll give you a bunch of tokens during combat, and it protects you against wraths. It also trades up against non-exile removal, and if that's not enough, it also combines really well with Ember Cleave. With no other red devotion on the battlefield, just Annex Harden the Forge with Ember Cleave equipped is a 5/4 trample double strike, and by turn 4, it's likely to be attacking for 16 or more. Past that, cards like Bone Crusher Giant and Robber of the Rich provide a slight amount of card advantage, but also just cheaply costed efficient creatures on their own. Rimrock Knight is just pure aggression, as well as Akum, Hellhound, and Fervent Champion, which is insane in multiples, but as a 1/1 first strike haste, the first copy isn't that great. It is, however, a necessary evil. 1-drops lately have been pretty lacking, especially for red. So, Phoenix of Ash is a card that's seeing popularity now, mostly because of rogues. The fact that it escapes means that against rogues, not only will you be able to find it without having to draw it, cast it a million times, but also it empties your graveyard, which is a big upside against cards like Into the Story, Drown in the Loch, and Soaring Thought Thief. Yeah, I should probably stop saying so. The A Crow in War and Torbrand, Thane of the Red Fell. So we'll start with Torbrand, which is generally like a 3-of in this deck, but seeing as we've already got Mana Sinks and Phoenix of Ash, and we've got another backup finisher in the A Crow in War, 1-of is just fine. It's essentially a much weaker version of Ember Cleave, but still fills the role of more expensive finisher. And the A Crow in War. It's only a 1-of in the main deck and a 3-of in the sideboard. The A Crow in War is the big reason why why Mono Red has a chance against Gruul. So, against decks without creatures, it's quite useless, but those are few and far in between these days. And against like a board stall, this card can just give you some massive blows. It'll force your opponent to attack, steal a creature, which you can then trade off, and oftentimes the game will end before you even have to give the creature back. So that's the deck. Let's move on to the sideboard. 1 red cap melee, 1 Scorching Dragonfire and 2 Soul Seer act as efficient removal against other aggressive decks and decks with creatures. 2 Soul Guide Lanterns against the mess itself, Rakdos Croaks mid-range, which has been seeing a fairly significant uptick in play. 2 Rimrock Knight may seem a little controversial, but considering we've already got 3 Scorching Dragonfire main deck to board against Gruul, and in a Necroan War, when we play against a control deck, we're going to be really glad that those are able to come in to replace them. 1 Mazemind Tome, actually surprisingly, for aggressive creature mirrors, because you're boarding it into removal, into a Necroan War, you're turning into a sort of mid-range deck and taking on the control role in the matchup, most often depending on what the opponent's configuration is. Mazemind Tome can really get you out of those situations, draw you past, and let you outpower your opponents when you both go into top deck mode. 3, the Necroan War. I've already talked about this card, but it's really insane. And you're bringing it against creatures. And finally, 3 Ox of Agonas, which is the card that beats rogues. That's just really all it does. It's also decent against control. It lets you refuel. You can sometimes cast it a second time. But against rogues, exiling 8 cards is actually an upside, because it just straight up turns off all their stuff really cheaply. Unless, of course, they've milled like half your deck, in which case you're probably going to lose anyway. And also, when escaped, a 5/3, draw you 3 cards. You're probably not going to be discarding much because this deck is really cheap. That's insane. And even when you get to 5 lands, just play this, draw 3 more cards. I mean, that's like half a hand again. You're able to refuel, just keep going. So Ox of Agonas, great against mill. And yeah, that's it. That's the deck. Let's get into some games. Alrighty, time for match 1 against Zifrani 1928. In this case, I doubt that it's just their name plus their date of birth, but you never know. And I will keep this hand. 4 lands is less than ideal, but 1, 2, 3 is pretty hard to pass up. And one thing to note, Fervent Champion can hit Rimrock Knight. Rimrock Knight is a knight, and Fervent Champion doesn't only target other Fervent Champions, which is especially relevant in like Boros Knights, but these occasional like small pockets of synergy, they're pretty good. It's also one reason why I think Rimrock Knight is slightly better than the other 3/1 for 2. That has a bunch of abilities. I forget exactly what it's called, but that one. And also, of course, Boulder Rush in conjunction with Ember Cleave is just a lot of damage. So, Agadim the Undercrypt, Agadim's Awakening, played untapped. I assume my opponent's on, well, I was going to say Rogues, but now this makes me think this is Rakdos mid-range. The Necroan War. It's a very, very good draw. Okay, I think that actually is game-winning. I mean, if they play a creature here, they're just dead. And if they don't play a creature here, they're just dead. I mean, that Agadim's Awakening was really painful for them. Ooh, Nighthawk Scavenger. Okay, that's a pretty quick one. Dead on turn 4 through 2 pieces of interaction. I guess they did start the game on 16, but I'll take it all the same. So, post-board, this matchup is pretty hard. They've got a bunch of removal, and they've got, like, just good stuff in general against what I'm doing. They've just got removal, and then they've got all that immediately into stuff like Kroxa, which is honestly a huge problem because it's cheap, but it's also like an enormous beater. So it closes the corner really quickly, it blocks really well, and it's not like a million mana like all the control finishers. And the question now is, what exactly am I boarding in? I think I don't want Mazemind Tome, just because I think I want to be aggressive in this matchup. Necroan War is a great answer to Croaks. I think I'll keep 2 Scorching Dragonfires because I did see, what's that card? Right, that's on my side of the battlefield, Nighthawk Scavenger, which can be a problem for this deck, which I think I'm gonna stay on. Yeah, and just not bring in the Ox. Okay, and Ember Cleave is a little bit worse against removal. Torbrand is also worse because they've got a bunch of instant speed removal like Heartless Act and Murderous Rider, Swift End actually. So running a 4-drop that like needs to get value with other creatures in play is just not a great idea. So on the draw game too as well, which is unfortunate. Stack really likes being on the play more than it does on the draw, as do most aggressive decks, of course. Really hoping my opponent goes for a Croaks on turn 2 here. I'll be able to hit it with my Soul Guide Lantern, and I mean that means that it'll get value. Okay, well, I guess not. dead weight? What is going on? So I actually haven't seen that in the stock lists, but maybe a little bit out of date. I haven't played it very much since my article on it. Quick self plug, mtgazone.com. Right, so I have no idea what's going on, but you can hit my Phoenix of Ash, and here I am regretting not bringing in that Maze Mind Tome. Yeah, so do I just play Anax here? Honestly, like, I don't know, it's worse against removal. I'll just play the Phoenix of Ash. Because like if they remove it, it just sucks for me. This Phoenix of Ash, they have a removal spell, it's already also gotten 2 damage in, but Anax just seems important. And I guess they weren't mana screwed. Well, now they're gonna make me sacrifice my Phoenix of Ash. It's unfortunate. Hopefully they like make me discard or something. Then I'll be able to. Wait, what? They're not gonna make me sack the Phoenix of Ash. That is surprising. I guess they're mindful of the escape, so I assume that's why they're doing it. I'll discard a land for now. Oh my god. Stupid bug. That is frustrating. Rankle is just... Oh my. That is not something you like to see. Not at all. So the bug with Rankle, for those of you unaware, Rankle only shows the first ability chosen. So my opponent chose all 3, but in the sidebar where it shows like what's on the stack, it only shows one of them. It's a pretty unfortunate bug. It's been around for a while. I'm pretty surprised they haven't fixed it yet. So I officially have no idea what's going wrong on. I guess my opponent's playing mono black rogues. Okay, and there's the removal spell that I was worried about. This does mean that Anax's sack creature ability is significantly worse. Okay, well, are they just gonna make me sack anyway, or what? What's going on? Also, these Silver God Lanterns are really bad. I'm fine with discarding here. Ember Cleave isn't doing much anyway. I'll get to escape this Phoenix of Ash. It's really great. And I'll have to bring in Ox of Agones's game 3 if I lose. So, what sucks? I think they only made me draw, and my arena's crashed. That's nice. Hello. Earth to computer. Oh, I just resolved. Okay, cool. Sure. So here, let's just escape. Because like I could kill Rankle, but I think this is better. And the next turn I can try to like 2-for my opponent or something. Don't think it really matters what I exile here, assuming I don't obviously exile my Phoenix of Ash. That'd just be kind of dumb. And now this means I also get to attack with my 1/1. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if my opponent had a removal spell here, but if they don't have anything more, it means I'll still have less than 8 cards in the graveyard. So if I draw a land, I will be able to Shadow Skull Smashing both of these. And luckily my opponent's not playing blue, so I don't have to be worried about counter spells. So there's a removal spell. If only it was like a Heartless Sack, that just didn't work. Are they playing a Hateful Eidolon or something? Because that is a suspicious amount of enchantments. Right, so 5 cards in the graveyard, probably going to go to 6, and then 7 with his Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah, that's probably fine. Actually, after this resolves... Okay, well, I guess we'll just draw a card. We're not discarding. Okay. And I'll just do this now. That's 6 cards in the graveyard. So... Another Ember Cleave. Well, at least if they make me discard again, I know what I'm discarding. So hopefully this works. As usual, the stupid like counting thing is absolutely drunk. Like, what is going on? I'll just deal 2 damage to Rankle, thanks. Seems perfectly fine to me. And now I'm on 6, which is not great against a bunch of haste creatures. So that's something to be worried about. But hopefully it'll be fine. You know, Well, my opponent's tanking, which means either they've got a bunch of really good plays or no good plays, and I really hope it's the latter. I don't know what I'll do if they just, like, rankle me again. Probably cast Phoenix of Ash, that seems pretty good. Oh, my opponent's really tanking, so hopefully this is Assault Rope, honestly. Like, oh, yikes. Well, here you go, I guess. Goodbye, Ember Cleave. Hardly knew ye. Yeah, 12 cards in the graveyard. So you know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna pop. And then I'm going to attack. And my opponent, if they block, I'm just gonna Ember Cleave them. Seems real strong. Now, this makes all their attacks much harder because if they just play Rankle at attack, I could Phoenix of Ash, equip Ember Cleave, make their life hard. I don't even need to draw a land for that. Yeah, I was right. They do have Hateful Eidolon. I'm honestly just really smart sometimes. It's just a thing. Okay, we'll see what my opponent does here. This could go badly. Game 3 I'll have a bunch of Scorching Dragonfires if this does go badly, so it'll be a little bit better. Okay, what's my opponent choosing? Doubt they're going to make me discard, honestly. Seems like a pretty weak play, but drawing and putting me to 2, that puts them to 8 though, so it's actually, they can't do that. So they're thinking whether to make me sack a creature is it. They've let them, yeah, not too sure about that one, Chief. Just gonna attack for a lethal, I think. Winning the game does seem like a strong play, usually. If they have a Disfigure, which I'm not even sure is legal in Standard, but if they have a Disfigure, I'm actually going to cry. No, they did not. Alright. So, match 1 goes to me, and it's time for match 2. Alright, welcome to match 2 against Changi, and, well, starting on 6 cards, and we're starting on 5 cards, and we're starting on 5 cards. That's always delightful. I don't think I want that many 2-drops. Well, I mean, I guess, or 1-drops out there. I guess the only upside is Raw Brother is going to be turned on. Unless, of course, my opponent won with nothings themselves. No. Ooh, doing a little bit of the curve out, as they say. No, I did that. Okay. So, no Bone Crusher, please, thanks. Oh, okay. Well, that's actually okay. They're just gonna 1-for-1 me on a multi-5. That's fine with me. Right. Put them to 12 and see what they do. Probably gonna be like a second Scorching Dragonfire. Yikes. We take those. It's just like the perfect draw, except for the fact that it like doesn't curve well, and they've got a second one, and they're gonna play a. Okay. So I still have outs to a good turn. Draw Ember Cleave. If I draw a literal land, I would rather draw Ember Cleave though. Unfortunately, this Fabled Passage does make Bushfire Elemental a very good blocker. And speaking of very good blockers, okay, well, guess now I can just swing out. They get to if they want to eat one creature, then they'll be like pretty low. okay, that works. Actually, that's pretty bad for me, isn't it? Actually, maybe that attack wasn't great, because they do get to trade with my Bone Crusher. Maybe I should have just held the land and waited for a better turn. I don't know, it's pretty rough, though, on either way. This does make Ember Cleave a whole lot. Okay, well, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. If they have almost anything here, I'm just straight up dead. Yeah, just, as you can see, this multi 5, okay, well, I was losing this game. This multi 5 just meant that I ran out of cards quicker than my opponent, and I wasn't able to do any sort of real comeback. So I'm gonna take out all these Akuma Hellhounds and these Rimrock Knights, and one of these Ember Cleaves and one of these Phoenix of Ashes. So Akuma Hellhound, I'm going higher curve, so I need to cut. Oops, didn't mean to cut two of those. I need to cut one of my one drops, and Fervent Champion seems better because it's also viable in defense. This matchup is no longer about attacking post board, it's about removal value and trading big creatures, and so for that same reason Rimrock Knight comes out. It's also pretty bad against instant speed removal, the Boulder Rush, and it also just is really bad against Lovestruck Beast because the 1/1 token trades for it. And we're taking out one Phoenix of Ash because Phoenix of Ash. We're taking out one Ember Cleave because when games go slower, drawing multiples can be pretty bad, and we're just pouring a bunch of removal in, and as I said before, Maze Mind Tome, which is pretty good in this matchup. Game 2. On the play, but down a game. And this hand is quite good. So I get to kill a turn 1 Innkeeper if they have one, which I would rather they didn't, but at least I have the answer to it. Okay, they don't. Ooh, oh, this is quite good, because now I get to play Maze Mind Tome, and then hopefully turn 3 I get to Phoenix of Ash, and then turn 4 I'll be able to double spell and draw, use my mana. It's great. Just a clear turn to play my Maze Mind Tome, and just I'll have. Excuse me, opponent. What? Yeah, we're gonna have to bottom you because I'm short on lands, but oh, that's really annoying. Wilt. Is this like some sort of Teamer Rekmir? Did like, what is going on? Does my opponent think I've got Great Hengine here? Huh. See how it is. Well, as soon as I get to my 4th land, this Acorn War should hopefully be pretty good. Assuming my opponent's still playing creatures and just hasn't boarded into creatureless control. What is this? Oh no. I cannot overstate how incredibly bad Klothys is to see for me. That is really scary. And really the only way of dealing with it is a Crowwood Warring In, which means my opponent needs to play creatures, which means I'm not attacking, which means it's getting more value and draining me and like potentially making them mana, and bad. Very bad. Also, needs to become creatures, I have to have Savage Devotion. Which is, yeah. Oh, really? Okay, well, I see how it is, I guess. Well, return fire, I say. Yes, my opponent's also on the Aggro and War tech. Very smart of them. Usually, though, they don't play the full 4 on the sideboard. Red mana, interesting. So my opponent's screwed. Oh no. More removal. What is this? At least they're down to 13. Somehow. Should have saved the Aggro War. Okay, well, that thing didn't die there for a second. I was a little bit scared. Right, this happens. Woo, I'm gonna lose, yay. Can I beat this? Is my only outdrawing in a Crowan War? I think it is. That's literally the only thing that can, yeah, so this matchup, just my opponent came prepared with a Crowan War, Clothis, multiple Elder Gargoths, and just drew them all, as well as 2 Scorching Dragonfires, and that Wilt turn 2. Hoo. Hello. Give me this. And, do I get a card off Robber? Do I get a card off Robber? Come on, card. Gimme. Ooh. Oh boy. The comeback of the century. Oh, this is very impressive. I am liking this. I get to a Crowan War. The already a Crowan War creature. Do I get to do that? Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. Gruul is no match for the mono red. So I think I should want to play Anax. And then attack and get my Rubber of the Rich card. Ooh, and do I get a 3/3 or do I draw a card? I think I draw a card. Ooh, yeah, good choice. And actually, that means I don't get a Rubber of the Rich card, but oh well, I guess. And now I can, I've just realized that I played this very badly. So Crowan War is gonna, like, trigger again, and then the Elder Gargoyle is gonna go back to my opponent. I'm gonna have to attack before I can Crowan War again. So it's actually not very good. Okay. Well, I'm gonna kill the Skoos. And now what happens? So I'm gonna put my opponent dead. It could. It very well could. It's gonna be 7-14, so I have to block it and gain life and jump. Okay, well, this game. Well, a series of good draws, and I only made one mistake that game, which is, yeah. And the mistake could have very well cost me the game, but it didn't. That's nice. A Crowan War is kind of hard to get used to playing because, like, for an active trade, it doesn't give haste. The creature also, like, weirdly only gets to attack once before it goes back. A Crowan War is just a confusing mess. And Clothis is apparently a creature once my opponent's dead. A little bit late to the party, I will say. And I guess we're just not changing anything. And running it back. Hopefully we get good draws again. And hopefully my opponent does not match me with those good draws. So they did flood, but they also played all their creature lands out on, like, turn 2, so. This hand is probably, it's gotta be Scorching Dragonfire. Because I've already got the Bone Crusher as well, and I think I need to keep creatures so I can actually, like, use this Ember Cleave. Plus, like, Scorching Dragonfire does get worse in multiples, especially when I've got Bone Crusher Giant. There's a limit to how many small creatures they can play. Fortunately, to see my opponent not mulliganing this game. Actually, scratch that, they did mull. I'm just gonna pass that off as being sarcastic or something, as if I was already paying attention. Right. A little bit confused to see them just straight up not cracking their Fabled Passage. What if they do a 3-drop? Blah, blah. What if they drew a 3-drop? Whoa, still not cracking their Fabled Passage? They're really mana screwed, okay. Well, hopefully I draw my land. Come on deck, come on deck. Come on deck. Ha ha ha. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna play this Phoenix of Ash because if they play a Lovestruck Beast next turn, they'll still be able to attack. And, yeah, now that they're finally cracking this Fabled Passage, it's pretty likely that they do so. That's, of course, assuming I don't get a land to Scorching Dragonfire plus Bone Crusher. So, opponent, what's going down? Oh, well, I guess it just got punished pretty hard for my play. Beginning to think it was actually a bad play, to be honest. Play the Bone Crusher. NX is only going to be 4 anyway next turn, 4 power, like no matter what, so. And it's also bet against Scorching Dragonfire, yeah. Finally making smart plays. My opponent just refusing to attack. Very interesting. Very interesting. And now I think it's actually correct to play the Annex, because it will actually attack for much more next turn. And let's see what my opponent does. Still missing on lands. Yikes. Hoo, okay, well that's gonna die. That's certainly gonna die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll Bone Crusher pre-combat, which means that, like, yeah, I'm spending my mana before I draw a card, but if I didn't spend the mana, I wouldn't draw a card. Ooh, and a Shadow Skull Smashing, which is really one of the worst draws I could get past literally just hitting a land, because it's expensive and overcosted and a sorcery, but I'll still take its 3 value, you know? Ooh, just a Lovestruck Beast. Okay, this game has been very unfair for my opponent, as you can probably tell. Unfortunate. And lethal next turn, most likely, unless they magically have a board wipe. They do not. Okay. And so I guess that whining in game 2 really paid off, because content creator waitlist, you know, all the way up to diamond, platinum tier 2. And I'm just going to not disclose which day of the month I'm recording this on, to save myself the embarrassment of not being in Mythic in the first 48 hours. I really cannot talk today. Sorry I'm not drunk. Anyway, it's been match 2, and get ready for match 3. Alrighty, welcome to match 3 against Professor Burn, which I will be very disappointed if their first play isn't a mountain, but we shall see. And hand I will keep. No 1-drop, no 2-drop, except like sort of a fake 2-drop, but it's fine. It's not like I'm an aggressive deck or anything. Oh no. My opponent is a traitor to their name. They bring dishonor to them and their family. They're gonna fetch a forest. I know it. They're gonna fetch a forest. Watch. Forest. Come on. What? Okay, well my opponent better be playing Rakdos Burn then. I mean, if I see that stupid 2-1 that mills you, they are actually doing it. My opponent's playing an aggro deck in Rakdos, and I have a Bone Crusher. Boom. So, probably not going to play Annex next turn. But I'm interested. What's my opponent? No, they're being like playing a good deck. Like, okay, fine. Really disappointing, honestly. When my opponent just queues up a good deck, just like, you know, someone didn't tell them that only I am allowed to. I mean, it's bad enough that they just didn't scoop as soon as they saw my name. Now they're gonna like actually play a tier 1 deck. Like, what kind of crap is this? Oh my god. Should be respecting their elders. Respect! Just gonna ignore the fact that my opponent's name is Professor. I probably should have thought that through a little bit more. Oh, yikes, they missed. Oh no. Rookie mistake, opponent. Rookie mistake. Okay, so we're going to be doing some attacking here, because I absolutely do not mind turning my 4-1. Okay, yeah. Annex OP BTW. Also, they're going to gain 2, which is a little bit rude. Oh, and they milled a Kroxa, which is very rude. Exceptionally rude. I'm incredibly disappointed in this lack of respect for me and We still get to attack for like a million. But my opponent's on 16. Okay, well I need an Ember Cleave off the top. Ember Cleave just tends to solve all your problems. Ember Cleave is the flex tape of Magic cards. Just slap it on anything and it's all good. Okay, opponent. Player 6/6. What? Interesting. Very interesting. I'm honestly pretty surprised to see that. But I guess they are worried about Ember Cleave, which is why they decided to do it main phase, which is very interesting. Probably gonna cast Croaks in now though. And I guess what I'm trying to do is get them low with Phoenix of Ash and then pull off an Alpha Strike. Because I can't realistically just keep throwing creatures away into the face of the giant gaping maw that thing has. Oh my god. Thing is scary. Nope, just gonna hold up Heartless Act, I guess. Fine. I mean, I guess they don't know that I don't have an Ember Cleave. No. What? My opponent, just doesn't want to, you know, like, cast their enormous 6/6. Like, okay, fine. Who am I to stop them, you know? They can just do whatever they want to do. Yeah, that's an Ox of Agonis. That means that my opponent is pretty much forced into blocking my Robber of the Rich, but I mean, they were already, so, you know. Okay, well, I'm just gonna castle Embereth. Had a small panic attack there when I looked at my lands and didn't immediately see a castle Embereth, I will say. But it is there, it is there. Okay, Phoenix of Ash. I'm gonna race a Croxa with a Phoenix of Ash. Let's go. Do get to attack for 6 though, it is a 2-turn clock. Ha! Let's suck on that. Giant Elder Titan of the same cycle that also spawned Uro, which was like the best card in Standard for literally its entire time in Standard, except for fires and all those broken 4-mana art of enchantments. I have lasting trauma, but it's okay because Standard is good now. I mean, a Standard where mono red is good is a good Standard. Aha, Shadow Skull Smashing, you say? Well, an attack for 6, and then I have to make an interesting decision, which is I play Shadow Skull Smashing. Very interesting decision, I know. And hear me out, I will explain. So, the upside is, if I hold Shadow Skull Smashing, I don't have to take 3 off Crocs. The downside is, if I don't draw a land next turn and they kill my Phoenix of Ash main phase, when I escape it, I won't have lethal. But if I do play the land, then I'm guaranteed if they have sorcery speed removal to be able to escape Phoenix of Ash and pump it, and I'll be exactly 5 damage. And my opponent's going to Blood Chief's Thirst my Kung Hellhound. Oh my god, that thing is really too light. Oh my god, it doesn't matter. That thing has reach, and what now? I can put my opponent to exactly 1 life and die, or I can attack, force the trade, and threaten lethal next turn. Honestly, like, winning seems like a pretty good line. Maybe my opponent just doesn't block. You never know. Hello? Earth to opponent. Yep. Nope, that was correct, that was correct. I just realized I could also escape once they traded off, but No, actually, if I, was that a mistake, actually? Was that, like, a really bad mistake that's possibly going to cost me this game? It means that I don't lose to a removal spell, but I, like, lose to a removal spell anyway, so. Well, I'm just gonna block. What else can I do? They're gonna have another croak, so it's not gonna matter. Oh, well, it was a good game. F. Okay, well, this match began, so, you know the drill. Soul Guide Lantern, Crow and more, and it's not actually this match began because we didn't have it the first time, but that's cool. It's okay. So we're my opponent finished sideboarding, so that's exciting, and I'm on to play, and I have 2 Akum Hellhounds, which is actually less good than you might think it is, because that means I play a 1-drop on turn 2, which is not great. Okay, Akum Hellhound off the top. Easy. Boom. Boom. Akum. Boom. Boom, it's the Akum. I have a broom, and I'm going to sweep my room. Boom. Boom. Yeah. And then I'm a human. And yeah. Okay. Now that I got that out of my system, just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Right, in the meanwhile, my opponent has started the game on 17 and a removal spell, but it's a Heartless Act. But it's an Annex, so it's cool. And if it's a Scorching Dragonfire, I will literally... I see how it is. So, they're just gonna play the Bone Crusher now, or are they gonna remove my Annex? Doesn't mean that I get to Ember Cleave, so my opponent might be worried about that. But unfortunately, I've only got a 351 chance. I did get enough sleep, I don't know what's going on. Oh, that works. Another one. My opponent's in the tank for like a year. Just gonna wait for them. Been in a tank so long, they're beginning to resemble a fish. That is how you achieve comedy. Hello? GG's opponent. Game 3. And that really was a 3 in 51 chance. I will take it. I certainly will. How much is 3 in 51? Is 51 divisible by 3? Yes, it is. It's 17. So 1 in 17. There are 16 alternate universes where I played a Phoenix of Ash and went to combat. And that is... Now you know that. You're welcome. And now my opponent's just freaking out. Do I block the 1-1 or the 0-1? What do I do? Can I beat an Ember Cleave? No. Well... Unfortunately for my opponent, their worst fears have been realized. And that's them dead. Game numero trace. Done. Game number 3 against Professor Burn, which did actually burn me out game 1, but we're not going to talk about that. And I am waiting my opponent, as usual. Solid hand. Let's go to 1, 2, 3, and I learned to count 10 years ago. more than that. I'm 15, I should probably know how to count before 5. And, classic turn 1 Fabled Passage. Okay, just play 2 drop. Let's go, come on. Mire Tread. Boom. And Mire Tread. And Mire Tread. Mire Trident? Mire Trident. Sometimes my genius, it's almost frightening. Unfortunately, that is a Croaks. Monka S. Why is this such a hard decision for my opponent? They're literally debating whether to throw away their 2-1 Death Touch for 1 singular point of damage. And it took them like 20 minutes to decide. Okay, no Teamite calls it dead. Okay, that's fine, I'm cool with that. Really? We're really gonna do my like that? I see how it is. Do I really have to kill that thing? She feels so bad. Guess I'll just play like a Bone Crusher Giant. And then I'll Scorching Dragonfire next turn. Hopefully they don't like remove it and get to cast one of my things. That would really suck. If I play a draw land, I can Scorching Dragonfire and Robber of the Rich, and then I can start taking my opponent to Pound Town. That is, Pound Town is referring to dealing them damage to the face and not anything else, so get your mind out of the gutter. Really? Really? In this day and age, and my opponent doesn't seem to have another red source, which, honestly seems like a pretty bad play in my opinion. Red source doesn't seem pretty important. I don't see why they wouldn't just, you know, they could have just had a 6/6 in play, like, why not? Second Croaks, you say? Okay, well, I'll play Phoenix of Ash, and then I'll annex next turn. Because I'm not attacking with annex because of Mire Trident, and I don't want to, even if I draw a land, cleaving it and just like into a removal spell feels bad. So, yeah. Okay, well, actually, now I'm not super worried about Croxa. You're gonna do Soul Shatter me again? Really? Does that hit everything or just creatures and planeswalkers? Oh, no, creatures and planeswalkers. It reminds me of, what's that card? Crackling Doom? The Mardu? Yeah, Crackling Doom. Murderous Rider, but not on my annex. Just for your information, I've been trying to rhyme annex with things for the past 5 minutes to make a joke, and so far the best thing I have is Xanax, and that is not good at all. Come on, just play the Murderous Rider. That's just play a Murderous Rider. That's it. Just a 2/3 lifelink, solid play. I like this. Why? Why do you are is mean to me? Face. Right opponent, any day now. Just waiting for you to make a play. For champion, you say? I'll accept. It's actually a very good draw. Not gonna attack with Anax for obvious reasons, and I'm gonna have to take a good long think about whether I want to win the game or whether I want to cast a Crow in War. Good long think. 1, 2, 16 damage. So 16 minus 7, puts them to 3 light. Yeah, like, I mean, they have to chomp with Croxa. Huh? Excuse me, what? Excuse me, what? Excuse me, what? Excuse me, what? So they've got a removal spell, it's clear as day. And I'm gonna have to bait them into using it. Targeting Anax. And, which is fine. Because I get to equip it for free onto Fervent Champion. Get 2 1/1s. And I need to be very careful not to play this Shadow Skull Smashing so I can actually steal the Croxa. And this way my opponent takes 3 damage. And then they cast the Croaks and then they lose. So, it's cool. So just, if you would be so kind as to, you know, Mr. Opponent, as long as you don't have land Blood Chief's Thirst next turn, we're just gonna be just fine. Unless they don't go for that. Whoa, words are hard. So they don't go for it again, but that would be very surprising. Considering now I've got a whole board of little critters. Now, click very carefully on Shadow Skull Smashing because it's my opponent's only out to the game. Submit 1. And, just gonna wait for the Martrident attack, shall we? Opponent? Really? Okay. I mean, whatever you want, opponent. It's gonna get me a little bit lower before I lose the game. And, wow, I just attacked for a literal million. Arena is a stable client. Not that it's as game-breaking as some of the other bugs that we've seen, even today. And, yeah, that's a clean 3-0. And, I'm now higher in rank. Which, yeah. I mean, you could already tell, but you're welcome. I'm just stalling until the server loads. That's it. Not like I could edit it out. 20 gems. That's so much better than a rare. Yes, yes, 20 gems. Thank you. Okay, yeah. So, for those of you who missed the intro, this is the deck. And, a quick 3-0 today. The deck's good. The deck is very good. It's like one of the best decks in Standard. It's also a really good best of 1 deck. Probably the best of 1 deck because it's mono red. Mono red is just the best of 1 deck, period. I ran out of breath. So, as I should have mentioned in the intro, but I'm bad at plugging myself, I wrote an article on this deck, which as of now, I have yet to finish editing it, but by the time this video comes out, it's probably going to be like a month later, so the article is probably on MTGA Zone. It'll also probably be linked in the description, and it's on this deck, and it's long, and it's good, hopefully, and you should read it if you want to learn more, because I go over the deck in detail, and that's sort of like what articles are, but you're welcome. Yeah, so, aside from that, it's going to be it for the video. Thank you so much, all of you, for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I certainly enjoyed. This deck is a great resource just for like ranking up. It's also not very budget friendly, but considering it's got 17 mountains as its mana base, it is more budget friendly than some of the other decks in Standard, and it's absolutely a staple for like any constructed player playing on budget or trying to just win games fast. As you say to the end of the video, I already gained a decent amount of rank. And I probably should have done this segment before I started thank you for watching, but thank you for watching anyway, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.